Alright, well this video is my install video of the Dutch Parts Co. front splitter for my 2018 Mark 7.5 Golf R. To start, you'll need to get the car up. You do need to remove the bumper. These are a couple T25s on the front grille, which needs to come out first. And once you undo the T25 screws, there's 4 holes with tabs underneath them. You can actually use the same T25 Torx bit to pop those out for you. Once you've popped that out, you can go ahead and pull straight outwards. Don't pull up because you got to slide some tabs out from the bottom there on top of the bumper. So you pull that out and there's going to be a cord there that you got to detach. That's for the automatic cruise control. So take that out. Set the grill to the side. There's going to be a number of T25s you got to take out from around the wheel well. I was lucky I didn't have to actually turn my wheel or take it out. I just had enough clearance to do that. There's a couple of these on each side you'll need to take out. I believe it's 4 on each side. It's not really difficult, just a little time consuming to take all of these out, so just keep them close by and hang on to them. There's one at the top that's kind of hard to see there. This is on the other side. Just wanted to get a close-up of it. I actually forgot to take this out once I was ready to remove the bumper. Figured there was another screw in there because it wasn't going anywhere. On the underside, you're going to have a couple more T25s. You can see a few of them here. We'll go through and take those out pretty quickly here. It's really not that complicated to take the front bumper off of the Golf R. There's a couple clips you got to be aware of so you don't pull any of the wires. It does definitely help to have your car up. I'm using my quick jack on this, which I absolutely love. I'm gonna have to do another video on that, but I suppose it's possible you could do this with your car on the ground, but I definitely wouldn't advise it. So once you get these out, you'll see there's one on the top there. You don't actually need to take that one out. That's more for the underbody shield there. You don't need to do anything with that one. But once these are out, there's a whole bunch of clips that hold the bumper in as well. There's 3 or 4 clips on each side by the fenders. So we'll show those in a second here. And then there's a bunch of clips, some of which will give you trouble when you're trying to take off the bumper towards the front middle of the car. So I'll show that. You also got to watch, like I said, some of these wires. You can see there's the one that we removed earlier. There's another one that goes down below there. We'll go ahead and when you're removing those clips that I showed you, those connectors, there's actually 2 metal tabs that hook onto the front of the bumper. You'll need to pop those off too. You can just slide them back on when we're done. Now for taking the bumper off, I got 2 of those normal Home Depot kind of buckets just to brace it since I didn't have anyone helping me on this one. Definitely helps to rest the bumper. For the height I had the car at, it was actually like perfect. I could just rest it as soon as it came off. You want to be careful when you're pulling these tabs. This is a close-up of them. You want to pull straight out. I found that kind of using short bursts instead of kind of prolonged force was a little bit better. So you can see me doing this on the other side here. It's actually the first time I ever took the bumper off, so there were a few videos out there for GTIs or older Golf Rs that didn't necessarily have all the same kind of connectors or electrical harnesses up front, but those videos helped, and hopefully this video will help anyone that needs to take the bumper off their R as well. Now this is where it gets really frustrating. There's 2 clips in the front, and I just could not get them to come out, and it was getting to the point where I was twisting, and I just didn't feel good about how much how much force I was using and whatnot. So I tried to get some close-ups here. The clips are on this black piece in the middle where we took out one of the T30s. I'll show you in a sec. You can move that trim piece, which is what we're doing here. If you depress one of the clips with a flathead screwdriver, you can move this out of the way like that. And that'll at least give you some better access to be able to put your flathead down behind this clip that you need to pop in order to get the bumper out. So here we are on the other side, and you can see that clip down there kind of hanging on. I'll point it out here in the video for you. That those are really stubborn. Let me know if you guys have ever had issues with that. I just didn't feel good about it, so used force plus the flathead screwdriver to try and pop those out. I'll spend a little bit of time showing this on the video since it gave me such a headache. Hopefully this will help someone else out there. So if you depress that clip as much as you can and pull as hard as you can, it'll work. Had to block the camera here just because I needed to get some leverage on it. And there it goes. Do the same thing on the other side here. Just like that. And at this point I thought I was good. I didn't realize that there was another wire harness over on the to my right here. I actually didn't see that one come up in any of the other videos I watched online, so I undid that. And that's how you get your bumper off. Time consuming, since it was my first time. I think doing it again would be much quicker. The buckets definitely helped. This is the Dutch Parts Co. front splitter. They shipped very quickly. I was pretty happy about that. It's also pretty affordable compared to some of the other splitters out there. So we'll take this out of the packaging. It does come with protective peel-off layers on each side. So we'll go ahead and rip those off. One inside of the splitter has recessed holes where the screws will fit into. That's how you know that's the bottom of the splitter. You'll see that when you're taking it apart. It comes with some pretty decent hardware. Seemed like high quality stuff. So this is where I actually spent a ton of time, probably about 20 or 30 minutes, just trying to line this thing up. You want to really line up the ends of the splitter with the ends of the bottom of your bumper so that when you look at it from the side it looks nice and flush. I use these hand clamps to hold it in place. The instructions say to put your bumper on top of the splitter and to mark the holes, which seemed really difficult to do. So I just put a box under the bumper and flipped it upside down, laid the splitter on top, and got it oriented the way I want, and clamped it down to hold it in place. Then you just use a 3/16 drill bit to drill the holes right through the holes already in the splitter. Use the hardware there. In the instructions it shows the orientation that you need to use for the screws, the washer and the Loctite nuts and so forth. You start with what they call screw number 1 and number 9, which are the ones on the ends. You don't actually use a spacer there because it's flush with the bumper itself. So I tightened that down, did the same on the other side. And once you've got it braced with the 2 screws on the ends, you can use your drill and drill the rest of the holes here. Pretty straightforward. You don't really need to use too much force. I actually wouldn't push too hard because you can go through that hole pretty quick. You don't want to hit anything else. So just do that for all the holes. For the rest of these screws, you use the spacer. You slide that between the bumper and the actual splitter. You line up the holes there so you can drop a screw down in, and then you just use the washer and nut down below like we did on the others. This is it all installed. You can see how nice it is if you just brace the middle of it with a box. Just use an ECS box I had sitting around with some oil in it. So flip that upside or right side up, and you can see what it looks like. This part was actually pretty easy once you had it set in place. I was just kind of paranoid about getting it right aligned perfectly. I've installed some other stuff in the past where I wasn't totally happy with how it was aligned, so I took some extra time on this one. I think I got it just right. So getting the bumper back on, if you're doing this alone, this is going to be fun. uh, there's a lot of making sure that tabs are lined up and that you're not sliding either on top of or over things you shouldn't be. So you spend a lot of time down below and on the sides and up top just making sure it's all aligned before you really pop all those tabs back in. This is decently frustrating. I cut out a lot of the video here. This is about 30 minutes of me trying to make sure I had everything just right. You can see how dirty my garage floor is there. So once you pop everything back in, you get some satisfying clicks, so you kind of know that everything's back in place there. Once the bumper cover's back on, you've plugged in your cords. You can put the grill back on there. Again, this slides straight in. It's not up and down. It's a horizontal motion. So you want to make sure that you align the bottom of it here, because you got to catch the clips on the bottom. So we'll do that here. It slides straight forward. And then push it in at the top. Get a nice click in. Put our T25s back in. And I'm not going to show it, but you also have to put the T25s back in the wheel wells and underneath the car. So just take care of that. And this is the finished product. I'm actually really happy with it. It seems like great quality. It's kind of a sporty look without being over the top, which is exactly how I like mods on my Golf R. I'm really happy with it. Learned quite a bit about how to take off that bumper as part of the install, which is always fun. Love learning about this car. And I hope this helps. Leave a comment if it helped or if you have questions, and happy modding. Thanks for watching.